Tonight we have breaking news just as we come on the air in the West. Former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted. President Trump's handpicked new U.S. attorney presenting her case to the grand jury today. And tonight, the former FBI director indicted. It comes just days after President Trump urged the Attorney General to go after his political enemies. Also breaking as we come on, the two tropical threats we're now watching off the coast. Tropical storm Umberto set to become a hurricane by tomorrow. A second system getting stronger. Could the two systems feed off each other? The potential paths, and outside New York City, a reported tornado amid heavy rain from Philadelphia to New York. Lee Goldberg standing by to time it out. Also tonight, the sniper attack on that ICE facility. Tonight, new video first obtained by ABC News. ICE agents and detainees in shackles racing for cover, and you'll see it. 3 detainees shot, 1 killed, 2 in critical condition. Tonight, what the FBI has now revealed about the gunman, the handwritten notes, and what he was doing at 3 a.m., hours before that attack. Tonight, the Delta passenger jet about to take off from Atlanta. Air traffic controllers are alerting the pilots one of your engines is on fire. Tonight, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth summoning hundreds of generals, admirals, and senior officers from around the world for an urgent meeting in Quantico, Virginia. What's behind this and what the president said when asked today. Tonight in Texas, the plan to reopen Camp Mystic, where 27 girls and counselors were swept away and killed in the flooding. Many of the families now horrified at the idea of reopening that camp and what they're saying tonight. A potential government shutdown just days away. Democrats tonight say they want to prevent Medicaid cuts and to keep insurance premiums from going up for millions of Americans. The White House says no meeting on this, and the Trump administration is now threatening to fire thousands of government employees, saying this is the Democrats' fault. The breaking headline late today on the future of TikTok in this country, what just played out. In New York City, the shooting at New York's Penn Station during rush hour, involving a husband and wife, 2 off-duty police officers. And Robin Roberts is here tonight with Lionel Richie. What he overcame during his childhood and that history-making moment, the song he co-wrote, We Are the World. Tonight, Robin and Lionel back in that historic studio where all of those singers gathered, and what we never knew.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. As we come on the air in the West tonight, we do begin here with breaking news. Former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted. President Trump's handpicked new U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan presenting her case to the grand jury today against the former FBI director. And just a short time ago here, we learned Comey has now been indicted. And it comes just days after the president urged the Attorney General to go after his political enemies. So let's get right to our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, tonight. Pierre, what have you learned?
David, sources tell us that the federal grand jury in Alexandria has just indicted former FBI Director James Comey on 2 felony counts, one for allegedly making false statements to Congress and also for obstruction of justice. Tonight, one of President Trump's top political enemies, former FBI Director James Comey, indicted after the president urged the Justice Department to pursue charges. The case was brought by the new U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, Lindsay Halligan, who was once one of Trump's personal attorneys. Halligan was sworn in just this week after Trump complained the Justice Department was moving too slowly to prosecute his political foes, including Comey. The president said he hoped Halligan would get things moving.
We have to act fast. If they're not guilty, that's fine. If they are guilty or if they should be charged, they should be charged. And we have to do it now.
Sources tell ABC News earlier this week, prosecutors presented Halligan with a memo recommending that Comey not be charged with the crime, saying there was not enough evidence. But Halligan convinced the grand jury otherwise, and Comey now faces charges of lying to Congress and obstruction. If convicted, he could face up to 5 years in prison. Tonight, President Trump posting Justice in America and Comey vowing to fight.
My heart is broken for the Department of Justice, but I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial.
It comes as we learn DOJ is also now looking into reasons to indict the group funded by another Trump enemy, billionaire Democratic donor George Soros, who the president has said should be put in jail. Sources tell ABC News top federal prosecutors around the country received a letter this week from the Justice Department ordering them to investigate Soros's philanthropic organization, the Open Society Foundation. It listed potential charges to consider, ranging from material support for terrorism, arson, wire fraud, and racketeering.
Everything's on the table right now.
A spokesman for Soros's group defending their work as peaceful and lawful, calling DOJ's move politically motivated attacks on civil society meant to silence speech the administration disagrees with. Again, sources telling us the federal grand jury in Alexandria has just indicted former FBI Director James Comey on 2 felony counts, one for allegedly making false statements to Congress and also for obstruction of justice, David.
Pierre Thomas on the breaking news tonight. Pierre, thank you. This evening, this rare tropical threat building off the East Coast. Rare because 2 tropical systems are gaining strength very close to one another. One set to become a hurricane by tomorrow. And then the other system, the question, will the 2 combine? Will their paths be affected by one another? Tropical storm Umberto on the far right there, gaining strength in the Atlantic, likely becoming a hurricane by tomorrow. The system to the left there growing stronger as well. Their potential paths tonight and how they could affect the East Coast. So Lee is standing by. He's going to track this. In the Northeast tonight, strong storms from Philadelphia to New York to Boston. A reported tornado in Hopewell Junction, New York. That's north of New York City. But of course, let's start with the tropical threats. This is still hurricane season, of course. WABC Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg with us to lead us off. Hi, Lee.
Hi, David. We definitely have concern that's climbing for the southeast coast of the U.S. We'll have a close call potentially early next week. On the tropical map covering several systems, of course, Gabrielle's now post-tropical, giving the Azores some hurricane conditions. It goes over to Portugal, Spain, even Morocco. But Umberto, starting to strengthen, could become a hurricane tomorrow, maybe even a major hurricane as we go over the weekend, and goes in between Bermuda and the U.S., safely recurves. But it'll have a major influence on the track and strengthening of that system that's soaking parts of Hispaniola right now. Probably becomes Imelda as we go into the Bahamas over the weekend. That'll be close, but notice the trend of our tropical modeling. It is on the table that we have a landfall on the Carolina coast. Not a certainty. The storm hasn't even formed. At the very least, it interacts with that front, and we talk about downpours, some gusty winds, some coastal flooding on the southeast coast early next week. Storms right now in the I-95 corridor into the evening. David?
All right, Lee, we'll be tracking this with you over the next couple of days. Thank you. Tonight, chilling new details here about the deadly sniper attack on an ICE facility in Dallas. We have new video first obtained by ABC News tonight. ICE agents and detainees in shackles. You can see them racing for cover. 3 detainees were shot, 1 killed, 2 remain in critical condition. And tonight, what the FBI has now revealed about the gunman, the handwritten notes, and what they say the suspect was doing at 3 a.m., hours before the attack. Again tonight, ABC's Mireya Villarreal from Dallas.
Tonight, we're seeing the moment gunfire erupted at an ICE facility in Dallas. Officers and detainees ducking for cover as bullets rained down. Detainees shackled at the hands and ankles, rushing to safety inside the building in video first obtained by ABC News. Armed agents then seen approaching the vans that came under fire, peering inside, carrying victims away. And tonight, authorities say the sniper who carried out that attack, killing a detainee and critically wounding 2 more, wanted to terrorize ICE agents.
He hoped his actions would terrorize ICE employees and interfere with their work, which he called human trafficking. And this, what he did, is the very definition of terrorism.
Officials identifying the suspect as 29-year-old Joshua John, saying they found handwritten notes in his home expressing hatred for the federal government and revealing a high degree of pre-attack planning.
Notably, these loose notes included a game plan of the attack and target areas at the facility.
FBI Director Kash Patel today saying one of the notes read, "Hopefully this will give ICE agents real terror to think, is there a sniper with AP rounds on that roof?" Investigators believe the suspect acted alone, seen on surveillance video driving with a large ladder on his car around 3 a.m.
We believe that that is what he used to position himself on top of the building.
The investigation revealing the suspect opened fire 3 hours later using an 8mm bolt-action rifle he legally purchased in August before turning the gun on himself. The FBI releasing a picture of some of the ammunition found, 1 bullet reading anti-ICE. Officials say the suspect used ICE tracking apps to pinpoint agents' locations.
He knew with a high likelihood ICE detainees would be transported that morning in the exact location where he was facing from his perch on a nearby rooftop.
The suspect firing a barrage of bullets as detainees were being taken out of a van.
The tragic irony for his evil plot here is that it was a detainee who was killed and 2 other detainees that were injured.
Agents running back into the gunfire to pull the detainees to safety
while the bullets were flying. These agents were heroic, clearly willing to lay down their lives to save the lives of the detainees in their custody.
David, investigators do not believe the suspect had any affiliation with any hate groups. And in fact, they also say that he wrote notes saying this is my plan and it came from my brain. Also late today, we got a hold of his voter registration out of Oklahoma, and it has him registered as an independent. David.
All right, Mireya Villarreal in Dallas for us again tonight. Mireya, thank you. We turn now to the Delta passenger jet about to take off from Atlanta. Air traffic control alerting pilots. One of your engines is on fire. Here's ABC's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, pilots on this Delta jet carrying 200 passengers abandoning takeoff moments before liftoff. Flames shooting from an engine.
Delta 54 Heavy, you've got your right engine on fire. You can come to a stop.
The plane had been cleared for departure Wednesday afternoon at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. Officials saying the fire went out and the aircraft was towed to the gate. Just hours later, in a separate incident, this United regional jet with 53 people on board overshooting the runway while landing at Roanoke Blacksburg Airport in Virginia, stopped by the runway's emergency safety bed. Air traffic control warning the pilots of poor weather conditions as they approached the landing.
Area of heavy to extreme precipitation begins about 4 mile final all the way down to the runway.
Passengers taken to the terminal by bus. Officials saying that emergency safety system functioned as intended.
These are cellular man-made blocks that are spongy and are meant to stop an aircraft that overruns the runway.
David, officials say no injuries were reported in either incident. The FAA is investigating. David.
Stephanie Ramos back with us tonight. Steph, thank you. Now to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth summoning hundreds of American generals, admirals, and senior officers from around the world for an urgent meeting in Quantico, Virginia. What's behind this? Here's Martha Raddatz.
Tonight, in an unprecedented move, Secretary Pete Hegseth asking all U.S. general officers and admirals in command positions and senior enlisted leaders around the world to gather at the U.S. Marine Base in Quantico, Virginia. That means hundreds of senior officers. The Pentagon saying in a statement, the Secretary of War will be addressing his senior military leaders early next week. But the Pentagon has not given a reason for the massive meeting, even those told to attend telling ABC News they are unaware of what prompted the meeting and what will be discussed. President Trump was asked about a meeting today, but may have thought the question was about foreign generals visiting.
Well, I know. I love it. I mean, I think it's great. Let him be friendly. Let him be friendly with the generals and admirals from all over the world.
The vice president then stepping in.
It's not particularly unusual that generals who report to the Secretary of War and then to the President of the United States are coming to speak with the Secretary of War. It's actually not unusual at all, and I think it's odd that you guys have made it into such a big story.
Back in May, Secretary Hegseth ordered a 20% reduction in the number of four-star generals and admirals across the active duty force.
We're going to shift resources from bloated headquarters elements to our warfighters.
Hegseth has already fired at least 15 senior military officers, including General C.Q. Brown, the then chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the first woman to command the Navy, Admiral Lisa Franchetti. And David, this is understandably creating apprehension among members of the military, given the lack of information. But judging by President Trump and Vice President Vance's response today, it does not seem like an urgent national security matter. David?
All right, Martha, we know you'll stay on it. Thank you. Tonight, growing controversy over a Texas summer camp planning to reopen at the same site where 27 campers and counselors were swept away in those deadly floodwaters. The parents of the last missing child, 8-year-old Seal Stewart, writing to camp leaders, quote, to promote reopening less than 3 months after the tragedy while one camper remains missing is unthinkable. Camp Mystic says they're working to implement protocols that comply with the new laws and that they continue to pray that that 8-year-old girl is found. From Washington, a potential government shutdown now just days away. The Trump administration threatening to fire thousands of government employees now unless Democrats agree to a new funding bill. Democrats say they want to prevent Medicaid cuts and to keep health insurance premiums from going up for millions of Americans. The White House has refused a meeting with the Democrats. When we come back here tonight, a shooting at New York's Penn Station involving a husband and wife, both off-duty police officers. Also news tonight on the future of TikTok here in the U.S., what we've learned. And Robin Roberts tonight with Lionel Richie. 40 years later, what we never knew about the iconic song he co-wrote, We Are the World. All those stars gathered together in that studio, and they return to that studio tonight right here. Tonight, investigators still on the scene after a chaotic moment at the height of rush hour at Penn Station here in New York. Police say a suspect tried to rob a husband and wife. They ended up being two off-duty police officers. Authorities say during the scuffle on the platform, one of the officers shot the suspect. He was rushed to the hospital, expected to survive, and now charged with attempted robbery and assault tonight. When we come back here, the breaking headline late today on the future of TikTok here in the U.S. And Robin Roberts with Lionel Richie tonight in the very studio where they recorded We Are the World and what we never knew. To the index of other news tonight, President Trump late today signing an executive order declaring a deal to allow TikTok to remain in the U.S. The president indicating that China has approved this deal after speaking earlier today with China's President Xi. The executive order now extends the deadline for TikTok to be sold by another 120 days. President Trump tonight saying Oracle's Larry Ellison, Rupert Murdoch, and Michael Dell are among the Americans who will take majority ownership of TikTok. Tonight, Starbucks says it will lay off about 900 workers and close some of its underperforming stores. Its CEO saying it's all part of a major restructuring plan. The coffee giant recently facing sluggish sales. The company says about 1% of its locations will close. When we come back here tonight, Robin Roberts with Lionel Richie, what he's now revealing about We Are the World, the song he co-wrote, what it was like in that room, and the famous singer who was incredibly shy the night they all recorded. Finally tonight here, Robin Roberts with Lionel Richie on his new memoir, What a Life He's Lived, and that iconic song he co-wrote, We Are the World.
Known for his genre-crossing hits topping the R&B, pop, and country charts, Lionel Richie can't be put in a box.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one.
One of the most influential songs of his career, We Are the World. The star-studded 1985 filming seen here in the legendary music video.
This is it. And I'd love to tell you it's changed.
No?
No, it has not. Right here is We Are the World.
This is it.
Studio
We Are the
A
World
is everything.
You know, when I think about you, Lionel,
I love that.
R&B, pop, country, it's like, can't put you in a box. And how many times you told that song is going to ruin your career?
Every song they told me that was going to ruin my career made my career.
Visiting the studio where Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie co-wrote the song, produced by Quincy Jones. Recording 45 artists in one room to raise funds for famine relief in Ethiopia.
Right about here is where we left our imprint on the wall. There it is. This is 1985. And you see that little kid right there?
Yeah.
40 years ago. I mean, it's like a blink. And you look around that beautiful picture and you say, Michael, Tina, think about it. Diana, Quincy, Smokey, Ray. Ray.
Oh, and you got Kenny?
Come on.
Al Jarreau.
Springsteen.
I know.
The fact that we pulled this off. In all of this, Dylan.
Oh.
And by the way, I give him props because you think the book for me is about being shy? Painfully shy.
Really?
But thought enough to say, I'll show up. And by the way, he walked in, no clue as to what he was going to sing or do, but he just freestyled it in. Every one of these artists were out of their comfort zone. And what I discovered was we were all scared to death. But we all stepped forward.
Yeah.
You understand where I'm coming from?
But what an impact. The Robin Roberts interview, Impact by Nightline. Truly Lionel Richie, a conversation with Robin Roberts, streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu. His memoir out next week. Good night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the third year in a row.